In the kingdom of Evergreen, nestled amidst rolling hills and verdant forests, there lived a young woman named Amara. With long hair cascading in waves of gold and eyes as clear as sapphire, she was known throughout the land for her beauty and grace. But it was her kindness and strength that truly set her apart. Amara's life changed forever when her beloved husband, Cedric, was called to war to defend their kingdom. Before he departed, he made her a promise to return to her side and never again take up arms. With a heavy heart but unwavering faith, Amara bid him farewell, clutching his words to her chest like a precious gem. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, but Cedric did not return. News reached Amara that he had fallen on the battlefield, an arrow piercing his heart as he charged bravely towards the enemy. Devastated by the loss of her beloved, Amara retreated into solitude, refusing to eat or drink as grief consumed her soul. She blamed the king for Cedric's death, cursing the war that had torn them apart. Yet, amidst her anguish, she found solace in their son, Eli, a beacon of light in her darkest hour. With every breath, she vowed to protect him, to shield him from the pain that had shattered her own heart. As time passed, the villagers whispered of Amara's beauty and the tragedy that had befallen her. Suitors came from far and wide, drawn by her radiant charm, but she turned them all away. She had made a vow never to love again, to keep her heart locked away in the depths of her sorrow. Instead, she turned to selling bananas to provide for herself and Eli, her days spent laboring under the scorching sun. It was a humble existence, but she clung to it fiercely, determined to carve out a life for her son despite the hardships they faced. Yet, despite her resolve, Amara found herself besieged by suitors, each one eager to win her affections. They whispered sweet words and offered promises of love, but she remained steadfast in her refusal, her heart closed off to their advances. One fateful day, as she washed her clothes by the river, a stranger appeared. Tall and regal, with eyes that sparkled like emeralds, he approached her with a smile upon his lips. He claimed to be a foreigner seeking directions to the palace, and Amara, ever kind-hearted, obliged. As the stranger introduced himself as Prince Lysander, Amara's heart skipped a beat. She felt a flutter of unease, a flicker of something long buried stirring within her soul. Yet she remained wary, her walls firmly in place as she revealed little of herself to him. Undeterred, Prince Lysander pressed on, his curiosity piqued by the mystery that surrounded Amara. He returned to the palace, his thoughts consumed by the beautiful woman he had encountered by the river. He sought out every scrap of information he could find, determined to unravel the secrets that shrouded her past. Meanwhile, Amara poured her love and devotion into Eli, her son the center of her world. She watched him grow and flourish, his laughter a balm to her wounded soul. Yet beneath the surface, a storm raged within her, a tumult of emotions she struggled to contain. Despite her vow of solitude, she could not deny the stirring of her heart in the presence of Prince Lysander. His kindness and charm broke through her defenses, awakening feelings she had long thought buried. But she refused to succumb to temptation, her love for Cedric a beacon of strength in the darkness. Determined to win Amara's trust, Prince Lysander continued to seek her company, each encounter deepening their connection. He learned of her grief and her vow of solitude, and his heart ached for the pain she had endured. Yet, he could not deny the growing attraction he felt towards her, a force as unstoppable as the tide. He offered her assistance and support, his actions speaking louder than words as he endeavored to ease her burdens. And though she remained wary, her heart softened in the presence of his kindness, her walls beginning to crumble with each passing day. As Eli grew older, Amara faced a difficult decision, to cling to the past or to embrace the future that lay before her. She wrestled with her emotions, torn between her love for Cedric and the burgeoning feelings she harbored for Prince Lysander. Yet, amidst her turmoil, one truth remained constant: her unwavering devotion to her son. She vowed to protect him at all costs, to shield him from the pain that had haunted her own life. And in his innocent laughter, she found the strength to face the uncertainties that lay ahead. In the end, it was love that conquered all: love for her son, love for her lost husband, and love for the man who had come to mean so much to her. With a heart full of courage, Amara allowed herself to open up to Prince Lysander, to embrace the possibility of a future filled with love and happiness. And as they stood together by the river that had witnessed their journey, they knew that their love was a force as timeless as the stars above. With Eli at their side, they embarked on a new chapter of their lives, their hearts entwined in a bond that could never be broken. As the sun set on the kingdom of Evergreen, Amara and Prince Lysander looked towards the horizon, their eyes alight with hope and determination. For though they had faced trials and tribulations, they knew that their love would endure, a beacon of light in the darkness. And as they walked hand in hand into the future that awaited them, they knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, united in the promise of golden waves and a love that would stand the test of time.
In the heart of the African savannah, there lived a young woman named Amara. Her life had been a tapestry of hardship and resilience, woven with threads from sorrow and dreams. Amara's father had abandoned their family when she was but a child, leaving her mother to care for Amara and her 3 siblings in a world that offered little mercy to a single parent in a small village. Amara's father had been the cornerstone of their small, tightly knit family, a beacon of strength and security in the humble village they called home. His departure was as sudden as it was devastating, leaving behind a void that echoed with questions and unspoken fears. He had left under the cloak of night, driven by lust and thirst for new love with a woman from another village. His absence transformed their home into a shadow of its former self, where laughter once echoed, silence now reigned, and where security once stood, vulnerability now lay bare. This abandonment etched a deep scar in Amara's heart, shaping her worldview and desires. She grew up witnessing her mother's struggle to mend fragments of their shattered family, her silent tears in the dead of night a testament to the betrayal she felt. For Amara, her father's departure was not just a physical absence, but a haunting reminder of the fragility of human connections. It instilled in her a yearning for love that was steadfast, a partner who would be the antithesis of her father, someone whose love and loyalty were as unwavering as the sun that rose each morning over the savannah. This longing became the compass of her life, guiding her through the complexities of human relationships and fueling her dream of finding a love that could withstand the trials of life, a love as enduring as the ancient lands that cradled her existence. However, as she matured, Amara saw the flaws in the people around her. Her trust was once profoundly shaken when her closest friend, whom she had confided in about her deep fear of insects, betrayed her trust. This friend, swayed by envy and spite, spread Amara's secrets throughout the village, turning her vulnerabilities into subjects of public mockery. This betrayal cut deeper than any physical wound could, reinforcing Amara's belief in the rarity of true loyalty and the persuasive nature of deceit among those she once believed to be pure of heart. It was a harsh lesson that even those closest to her could betray her trust, amplifying her resolve to find a love that transcended the weakness of human nature. Despite the discouraging reality, she held on to her dream with a fierce determination, believing that somewhere, somehow, true love awaited her. It was on a day like any other. Amara ventured into the vast savannah, a task undertaken with reverence and necessity. Her mother, skilled in the ancient art of healing, had passed down the knowledge of herbs and their uses, a legacy Amara carried with pride. That day, her mission was to gather herbs for a sick child, a task imbued with urgency and care. The savannah, with its endless horizon and whispering grasses, was both a sanctuary and a source of life. It was here, amidst the dance of nature, that Amara's path would cross with a majestic lion, altering her course of life forever. Fear gripped her heart as the lion stood before her, its eyes piercing, a silent strength emanating from its presence. In a desperate bid for safety, Amara attempted to climb the nearest tree, but her efforts were in vain. The lion approached, its expression fierce, and Amara braced herself for the end. Yet, what came was not the cold embrace of death, but a gesture so tender, it shattered all her fears. The lion sat beside her, its demeanor shifting from fearsome to gentle. A wave of shock coursed through Amara when it licked her face. Against every instinct screaming within her, she reached out, her hand trembling as it stroked the lion's mane. To her astonishment, the lion responded with a contented purr, its head lowering in a gesture of trust and affection. In that moment, the impossible unfolded. The lion spoke. His name was Ezio. The lion's words, though scary, touched her heart. His voice held a depth of emotion that resonated with Amara's soul. He explained that in her, he saw a unique spirit, a kindred heart, capable of embracing his fierce, unconditional love. Throughout his life, Ezio had wandered the earth, a solitary guardian of the savannah, yearning for a connection that transcended the superficial bonds formed by others of his kind. In Amara's eyes, he recognized not just a partner, but a soulmate, the only being on this earth who could withstand the intensity of his love and share it in kind. This love was not blind to flaws, but accepted them as a part of a profound bond, a love that sought not to possess, but to liberate and uplift. Overwhelmed but captivated, Amara agreed to leave her village and venture into the unknown with him. In the days that followed, Amara and the lion ventured deep into the heart of the savannah, embarking on a journey of mutual discovery. They roamed the expansive grasslands, where Ezio taught her the language of the wild, interpreting the calls of the distant creatures and the subtle signals of the earth. Together, they chased the wind under the vast African sky, Amara riding on Ezio's back as they soared like the breeze itself. At dusk, they found solace in the serene beauty of the savannah, watching the sun bleed colors into the horizon. These moments, shared in the harmony of their surroundings, wove a bond of understanding, trust, and love, a testament to their extraordinary union. Ezio showed her the wonders of his world, and in turn, Amara shared the depths of her soul. Finally, Ezio asked Amara to marry him. Her heart answered before her lips could form a word: yes. His promise of a life filled with love and the possibility of a child, a symbol of their unique bond, filled her with delightful hope. Yet, before they could begin their life together, Amara wished for her family and village to witness their union, to understand and accept the love that transcended the boundaries of the natural world. Ezio agreed, and the following day, they approached the village. The sight of the lion struck fear into the hearts of the envious villagers. But Amara stood firm, a bridge between two worlds. She explained her love for Ezio and his for her, calming the storm of panic that had risen. Her mother, though initially bewildered, saw the light in her daughter's eyes, a light that had been absent for too long, and her heart swelled with happiness. The village elders, moved by the sincerity of their love, agreed to bless their marriage. It was a ceremony that would be etched in the memory of the village for generations, a testament to the power of love and the breaking of barriers between man and nature. Amara and Ezio lived a life filled with love, adventure, and harmony beside the savannah, near the village that had once been her entire world. In time, Amara gave birth to a son, embodying the strength and majesty of her father and the resilience and purity of his mother. He grew to be a man of unparalleled strength and compassion, a bridge between two worlds, just like Ezio and Amara. Their story, passed down through the ages, became a beacon of hope, a reminder that love, in its purest form, knows no bounds. It taught that if one holds on to their dreams, with a heart unburdened by doubt and eyes fixed on the horizon, life can unfold in ways beyond the wildest imaginations. The moral of Amara and Ezio's tale is a simple yet profound truth. If you truly desire something and never cease to believe in it, even when it seems utterly beyond reach, life may surprise you in ways so wonderful you could never have envisioned. If you don't want to miss the most exciting African folktales, make sure to subscribe. Till next time.
Once in a village called Obidi, an orphan girl named Ada lived with her grandmother. Her parents died when she was very little. Every morning, Ada goes down to the river with her friend Ene to fetch water for Mama. They were like sisters and loved each other's company. Mama told Ada never to go down to the river alone. It was a narrow road that had thick sprawling bushes on both sides, and it gets lonely as the sun goes down. One afternoon, Ada was preparing to go to the stream with Ene. Mama told them not to go that day. Ada, Mama has fallen asleep. Ene whispered to Ada through the window, but Mama said we should not go today. She will know. Ene was very persuasive. Ada hesitated at first, but finally agreed, disregarding Mama's instruction. She quickly got ready and followed Ene. They walked down to the river in all excitement. As she was walking with joy, the air was warm and sounds of whispering birds jumped from tree to tree. Along the narrow path, beneath the bushes, something was lurking in the shadows. Ada began to notice the ruffling trees. Somewhere in the background, something was there. She thought. She hesitated her slow pace when she heard faint footsteps behind, but Ene was walking very fast ahead. Just as soon as she wanted to tell her friend, a scary-looking man jumped out of the bushes, wielding a machete behind her. He was wearing a mask with intricate markings all over. There were markings of Agabo too. Ada screamed for help and picked up running as fast as her little feet could muster, but it was of no use. The man soon caught up with her. Ene watched in horror as the masked man pulled a handkerchief over Ada's nose, causing her to pass out. The Agabo too was a secret cult known throughout the village for their diabolic practices. They were accustomed to sacrificing young virgin girls to their deity Agaba every first day of the month. Seeing that Ada has been captured, Ene turned to hurry for help, but something bad happened. She fell into a pit. A trap that was set by the cultists captured them. Her head was spinning out of control from the fall, and soon everything went dark for Ene. Ada woke up in a dimly lit hall. As she looked around, a thick, pungent odor filled the air. Her eyes darted from one oddly heap of mangled items to what looked like flesh on a stick. There were torches of coal and a major bonfire at the center, where some men were dancing around. It was Agaba's shrine. She had been brought there. Standing just adjacent to her was a scary-looking witch doctor making incantations to Agaba. Few minutes later, the witch doctor turned and started looking at her. There was pure evil in his eye. Ada tried not to make direct eye contact as she secretly scanned her environment for Ene, but Ene was not there. Is she even alive? She must be hiding somewhere or getting help, Ada thought. Who are you, Beloved? The witch doctor I am an orphan. Her eyes was shaking. I am just an innocent girl. Ada begged the witch doctor not to hurt her, but he paid her no attention. Shortly the ritual began. With loud chanting and dancing, drums rolled out and the men burst into a frenzy. I am going to offer you as a precious gift to Agaba, said the witch doctor. Ada began to cry. She wept bitterly. In a flash of wonder, it began to rain. The rain started slowly and soon started pouring down. One by one, the torches that illuminated the shrine were put off. Then lightning and thunder began to crackle. It was as if the god of the sky spoke in anger. A cloak of darkness descended on the shrine, forcing the men to retreat to their tent while they wait for the rain to subside. This made the witch doctor pace angrily for minutes non-stop. Ada was left on the floor, both hands bound, the harsh beating from the downpour on her flesh. She crawled into one of the sheds. Then she saw a sharp piece of metal on the floor and immediately started brushing her hands against it. The more she thought of Ene, the harder she stroked. She regretted ever disobeying Mama. Only if I had listened to her instructions, she said to herself. Summoning courage, Ada broke the ropes and ran out. Amidst all the rains and thunderstorms, she could hear the loud noises from the camp from a distance, but she was determined to leave the shrine. After hours of running in the rain through the thick of the bushes, she stumbled and fell into a river. Ada could not swim, and the current flowing through the river was very high. She struggled, but the tides overpowered her. At the point of drowning, she looked up and there was a hand reaching out. She immediately grabbed the hand, pulling her out of the deep end. The hand was that of a woman. She had very long and flowy hair, almost covering all her face. At first, she was terrified. She wanted to run, but the woman with the flowy hair said to the young girl, "Do not be scared. I won't hurt you." She asked her, "What are you doing inside the bush all alone, young girl?" Ada told her she was running away from the Agabotu and fell into the river. She explained how she was kidnapped and what she had gone through. To Ada's surprise, the lady pointed at a hut not too far from her. She told Ada that she found another girl almost the same age with her lost in these bushes. Ada immediately knew it was Ene that she was talking about. Ada was very happy that she finally met someone who wanted to help her. She ran out of the hut and saw Ene lying down looking exhausted. Ada was overjoyed. They embraced each other. The woman told Ada something she never forgot. Follow the river. Follow the river and you will reach your village. Ada thanked the woman and together with Ene, they set out. They followed the woman's instruction. When they returned to Obidi, Mama was so pleased to see her but was already preparing to go searching for them. Ada had learned her lesson never to disobey Mama again. But who was the lady with the long wavy hair? Why was she in the bush and why is her hair long?
Find out in our upcoming tales and subscribe for more.
Once upon a time in a small village called Ukam, there lived a king called Musa. He was a chronic womanizer who was infatuated with beautiful women, despite having 50 wives. King Musa's personality was known by all his subjects and the neighboring villages. So, everyone would always hide their daughters and wives whenever they heard King Musa was taking a stroll around the village. Because whenever King Musa lay eyes on any woman, he would forcefully marry her and recompense her family or husband handsomely. King Musa didn't care whether the woman was married or not. All he thought about was her beauty. Once he expressed interest in a woman, she had to either accept to be his wife or lose her life. One day, King Musa returned from a stroll around the village and discovered one of his many wives with a guard, making love inside his hut. This made him extremely angry and bitter. He arrested the guard and convened a general village meeting at the market square the following day. Everyone attended the gathering, except the women who were considered beautiful. out of fear of being forced into marriage by King Musa. When they had all gathered in the market square, King Musa arrived with the village's spiritualist and the guard he discovered with his wife. King Musa decapitated the guard in front of the entire community as a warning to anyone who entertained the idea of sleeping with any of his wives. Then King Musa instructed the village spiritualist to cast a curse on the Ukam village. This curse required any woman married to a man from Ukam village to remain faithful till death. If a married woman cheated on her husband, she would transform into an animal. The men of the Ukam village were overjoyed about the new development. This meant that the king could no longer force a married woman to become his wife. After the curse was cast on Ukam village by the village spiritualists, the biggest amount of marriages was recorded in the days that followed. All the beautiful women hurriedly accepted any man who came for their hand in marriage, so as to avoid being forced to marry the king. And ever since the curse was invoked, no incidents of infidelity have been recorded in the Ukam village. 20 years later, the village had grown dramatically, and King Musa had passed away. They had a new king who genuinely cared about the villagers and was determined to bring growth to Ukam. The curse imposed by King Musa still existed, but the younger generations were unaware. In this new era, there lived a young, beautiful maiden by the name of Amaka. She was so beautiful and radiant that all the men in Ukam village wanted her as a bride, but she refused to accept any of them because she desired a wealthy man who could afford her most expensive jewelry and apparel. She had a childhood friend called Ada. Ada was equally attractive, but not as materialistic as Amaka. She would always advise Amaka to choose a man who was loving, caring, and compassionate. She implored Amaka that wealth is vanity and the personality is all that truly matters. Nevertheless, Amaka was stubborn, believing she was too beautiful to be the bride of an average man. One day, Amaka and Ada were on their way back from the stream when they met Emeka, a handsome and well-built man. He offered to help with their water pots, but Amaka bluntly refused. Ada, on the other hand, accepted his offer, and he assisted her with her pot of water. As they walked and talked, Ada learned that Emeka is a small-scale farmer with a small plot of land where he harvests crops. Ada admired Emeka's outspokenness and kindness, while Amaka disliked him because he was not wealthy. The following week, Amaka went to the market to purchase some items. There she met Chief Kanayo. Chief Kanayo noticed her and became interested. He approached her in the stall where she was. He promised her she could choose anything she wanted, and he would pay. Amaka chose a variety of jewelry, beads, and outfits. Chief Kanayo paid for them all and told Amaka that he loved her and wanted to marry her. Amaka quickly accepted without thinking because she knew he was wealthy. Amaka and Ada chose the same day for their marriage ceremony. Emeka wasn't very rich, so he bought what he could afford for his wedding to Ada, while Chief Kanayo prepared a feast for Amaka. Amaka's wedding was the buzz of the town since there was plenty of food and drink for everyone. This was exactly what Amaka desired, so she was overjoyed. Ada was contented with what Emeka could afford, since she cared more about his personality than his money. However, Amaka met the shock of her life when she accompanied Chief Kanayo home after the ceremony and discovered that he already had 5 wives. Each wife had her own hut, and Chief Kanayo would visit each one on a specific day of the week. Amaka became enraged and began to yell at Chief Kanayo for concealing the fact that he had multiple wives. Chief Kanayo gave her a harsh slap on the cheek and warned her to keep silent. He informed Amaka that he had spent a lot of money on her own dowry and wedding arrangements. Thus, she belonged to him. Chief Kanayo then had a hut built for Amaka, where she lived alongside his other wives. But Ada was happy with Emeka. Emeka was deeply caring, loving, and compassionate. He didn't have much, but he loved and cherished Ada very much. He tried everything he could to keep her happy all the time. A few weeks after Emeka married Chief Kanayo, the other wives started treating her like a slave. She was the youngest of them all. Therefore, they often sent her on errands. Emeka had everything she desired and could afford, but she was constantly sad and melancholy. She recalled what her friend Ada had said, but it was too late. Chief Kanayo rarely spent time with her. He only made love with her once or twice a month. She was constantly alone and bored. One fateful day, Emeka went to the stream to get some water when she came across Ifeanyi, a very gorgeous, cute, and muscular young hunter. She was on her way with a pot of water on her head when she noticed a snake slithering from the bush. In terror, she tossed the pot to the ground and shouted. Ifeanyi had just finished hunting when he heard her wailing. He promptly ran to her aid and pursued the snake. After a few minutes, he returned to check on Emeka, who was still sitting on the floor in incredulity. He assured Emeka he had killed the snake, but she was too afraid to move. So he held Emeka in his arms and carried her home. As she sat securely in his arms, her face resting on his chest, she began to feel drawn to Ifeanyi. When they arrived at her house, Emeka offered to pay an excessive amount for all the bushmeat Ifeanyi had caught that day. Ifeanyi was ecstatic that Emeka paid twice the price of the bushmeat. Emeka begged Ifeanyi to always bring her bushmeat whenever he caught any, not because she desired it, but because she had fallen in love with Ifeanyi's physique and demeanor. She wanted to see him and be with him all the time because her husband hardly had any time for her. One day, she went to see her friend Ada and noticed how well she got along with Emeka. She noticed that Ada had gotten more attractive with time, but Emeka appeared older with her age since she was constantly miserable and depressed, despite having access to whatever she desired. She grumbled to Ada about her matrimonial house. Ada comforted her and told her to persevere. Ada told her it was a cross she had to carry. Emeka left Ada's house feeling hurt and depressed. She wished she had embraced Emeka when he approached the two of them. When Emeka reached home, she began crying. In that moment, Ifeanyi the hunter brought some bushmeat for her. When he heard her crying, he went into the hut and attempted to calm her. Emeka grieved bitterly and opened up to Ifeanyi. While she wailed, she kissed him, and Ifeanyi kissed her too, and they made love. Ada complained of a stomachache after they had finished making love. She begged Ifeanyi to get her some water. Ifeanyi promptly left the hut and fetched a cup of water. When he went back inside the hut, he couldn't find Emeka. All he saw were her clothes and jewelry. Ifeanyi felt terrified and alerted the other women. When they entered her hut, they lifted her jewelry and clothing. To their utter surprise, they discovered a snail beneath her garments. The eldest of the wives remembered the stories she had heard from her grandparents about the curse placed on Ukam village during the reign of King Musa. Nobody thought it to be true, but the fear of finding out kept every married woman in check. But now it was confirmed that truly the curse existed. When Chief Kanayo returned, he was informed of what had occurred. He brought Emeka, the snail, to the village's spiritualist, who stated there was nothing they could do. So, they put Emeka, the snail, inside a basket in the village square. Every morning, they fed her water and food. She remained there for the remainder of her life as a warning to other married ladies who intended to cheat on their husband. That's it for this story. I hope you really enjoyed. The important lesson that I picked up from this story is that whenever you choose wealth over compassion, just know that it's going to backfire. Wealth can be exhausted, but our personalities are made up of core values. They stay with us until our deaths. And in case of love, I think that it is better to remain single than to marry someone you don't love. Thank you very much for watching, but before the end, I have a question for you. From which country are you watching this video? Make sure to tell me in the comments. Till next time.
Once upon a time, in the enchanting lands of the Yoruba kingdom, there lived a young girl named Kemi. She was a curious and adventurous soul, with a heart that yearned for exploration and discovery. Kemi's village is known for its vibrant culture and rich traditions, but what set it apart from others was an ancient treasure that had been passed down through generations: the talking drum. The talking drum was a magical instrument that could communicate with the spirits of the land. It was believed to hold the wisdom of the ancestors, and only a chosen few were allowed to play it. One day, as Kemi roamed the lush green fields outside her village, she stumbled upon the hidden cave where the talking drum was kept. As she approached the drum, she felt an inexplicable pull, as if the drum itself was beckoning on her. With a mix of excitement and trepidation, Kemi reached out and gently touched the smooth surface of the drum. In that moment, the drum came alive. It started to emit a soft glow, and its rhythmic beats filled the air. To her astonishment, the drum spoke in a melodious voice. "Greetings, young one. I am the talking drum. And you, Kemi, have been chosen as my guardian. Embrace your destiny, for I shall grant you the power to communicate with the spirits and seek wisdom from the past." Kemi was both amazed and honored to be chosen by the drum. From that day forward, she practiced diligently, learning to play the ancient rhythms that connected her to the spirit world. With the talking drum as her guide, Kemi embarked on countless adventures that took her to distant lands, meeting creatures of folklore and uncovering long-lost secrets. One day, as Kemi was playing the talking drum by the riverside, a troubled spirit emerged from the water. It was a water nymph, and she lamented about the disappearance of her beautiful underwater kingdom. The once pristine waters had turned murky and polluted, threatening the lives of all aquatic creatures. Kemi's heart went out to the spirits, and with the guidance of the talking drum, she vowed to help restore the water nymph's kingdom. Armed with her bravery and the power of the drum, she set out on a journey to find the source of the pollution and put an end to it. Through dense forests, treacherous mountains, and vast deserts, Kemi followed the clues that the talking drum provided. Along the way, she encountered her friends who joined her in the quest. And together, they faced challenges that tested their determination and friendship. Finally, after days of tireless efforts, they reached the polluted river's origin, a factory that was carelessly releasing toxic waste into the water. Kemi knew she had to act swiftly, but she couldn't do it alone. She played a powerful rhythm on the talking drum, calling upon the spirits of the land to aid her in cleansing the river. The ground trembled, and the spirits rose from the earth, joining Kemi in her fight against the pollution. With their combined strength, they sealed the factory's source and began purifying the water. The river sparkled once again. The grateful water nymph appeared, and her kingdom restored to its former glory. News of Kemi's courageous feat spread far and wide, and she became a revered figure in her village and beyond. She continued to use the talking drum to help those in need and preserve the beauty of her homeland. And so, the adventures of Kemi and the talking drum lived on, their stories inspiring generations to come, reminding them of the importance of bravery, compassion, and the deep connection between humanity and the natural world. Once upon a time, in a small village called Dumdum, lived two best friends, Tarachi and Kelechi. They were inseparable, like the sun and the sky. They laughed together, played together, and they shared their dreams beneath the shade of the ancient mango tree. Tarachi was a lively young girl with a heart full of warmth and kindness. She had a radiant smile that could brighten the darkest of days. Her laughter was like a melody that danced through the village, bringing joy to everyone who heard it. Kelechi, on the other hand, was a gentle and humble soul. He was known throughout the village for his wisdom and his ability to mend broken things, whether a torn shirt or a troubled heart. He had a heart as big as the African savanna and a spirit as strong as the mightiest lion. But as the years passed, a seed of jealousy began to grow within Tarachi's heart. She noticed that the villagers often praised Kelechi for his skills and wisdom, and it made her feel overshadowed. Tarachi wanted to be admired and respected just like her best friend. One day, Tarachi overheard the villagers talking about a grand festival that was to be held in the village. They said that the person who could create the most beautiful piece of artwork would be named the village artist and receive a special honor. Tarachi's jealousy flared up like a wildfire. She decided that she would prove herself as the best artist and gain the admiration she craved. Tarachi spent days and nights creating a magnificent painting. She used the brightest colors and the finest brushes, determined to outshine Kelechi. When the day of the festival arrived, she proudly displayed her artwork, expecting the villagers to shower her with praise. As the villagers gathered around Tarachi's painting, their faces were filled with confusion and disappointment. Her painting, although colorful, lacked the soul and beauty of Kelechi's creation. Kelechi had painted a breakthrough mural of the African landscape, capturing the essence of their village with every stroke. The villagers cheered for Kelechi, naming him the village artist and celebrating his masterpiece. Tarachi, standing by her inferior painting, felt a pang of regret and guilt. She realized that her jealousy had blinded her to the true essence of art and friendship. Tarachi went to Kelechi, tears in her eyes, and admitted her jealousy and wrongdoing. Kelechi, being the kind-hearted friend that he was, forgave her without hesitation. They embraced and their friendship grew stronger than ever. From that day forward, Tarachi let go of her jealousy and learned the true meaning of friendship. She and Kelechi continued to share their dreams and laughter beneath the shade of the ancient mango tree, knowing that their bond was more precious than any praise or admiration. And so, in the heart of Dumdum, the tale of Tarachi, the jealous friend, became a story of redemption and the enduring power of true friendship. A story passed down through generations under the sun and stars of Dumdum village. Long, long, long ago, in the heart of a beautiful kingdom, situated between lush mountains and sparkling rivers called Amotu, lived a young prince named Ayomide. He was known far and wide for his courage, wisdom, and kindness. But there was one thing that weighed him heavily on his heart: the impending task of choosing a bride. In the kingdom of Amotu, it was a tradition that the gods themselves would guide the prince in selecting a bride. On the eve of his 25th birthday, the most eligible women from all corners of the land were invited to the palace to participate in a series of challenges and tests. These challenges were designed to showcase not just their beauty, but their character, intelligence, and spirit. The news of the grand event spread wide around the community, reaching even the humblest villagers. Among those who heard of it was a young woman named Foluke. Foluke lived in a quiet village at the edge of the kingdom where her kindness and generosity were renowned. Although she was not of humble birth, her heart shone brighter than any jewel, and her spirit was as unyielding as the tallest oak. As preparations for the challenges began, Foluke heard the whispers of doubt from those around her. They told her that she was too ordinary, too simple to catch the eye of the prince. But Foluke paid no heed to their words, for she believed that love and goodness were worth more than all the riches in the world. When the day of the challenge arrived, the palace courtyard was adorned with flowers and banners. Prince Ayomide, dressed in a regal attire, greeted each contestant with kindness and respect. As the challenge commenced, Foluke faced them with a heart full of determination. She showcased her intelligence in solving riddles, her compassion in caring for injured birds, and her strength in completing physical feats. Throughout the challenge, Prince Ayomide observed closely. As the days went on, he found his attention drawn more and more to Foluke. Her simplicity and genuine nature stood out amidst the glitz and glamour of other contestants. He saw her heart shining through, and he felt a connection he couldn't explain. As the last challenge is being concluded, a huge fell over the courtyard. As the prince stepped forward, his gaze fixed on Foluke. With a voice that resonated through the hearts of all present, he spoke. "The gods have shown me that true beauty lies not in grandeur, but in the purity of heart. I, Ayomide, the prince, have chosen my bride, Foluke, the embodiment of kindness and love." Gasps of surprise and murmurs of approval swept through the crowd. Foluke stood there, her heart pounding, tears of disbelief and joy welling up in her eyes. Prince Ayomide descended from his throne and approached her. Taking her hand in his, he said, "In you I have found a partner who understands the true essence of love and compassion. With you I wish to build a kingdom that thrives on these values." And so the prince and Foluke were united in a bond blessed by the gods. Their love story became a legend that echoed through the kingdom for generations to come. A reminder that the purest of hearts could attract the most profound of blessings. With Foluke by his side, Prince Ayomide ruled the kingdom with wisdom, kindness, and once upon a time, in a very small and peaceful village called Otu, lived a brave and curious young girl named Abe. Abe was known far and wide for her curiosity, a trait that often led her into exciting and sometimes dangerous adventures. One sunny morning, Abe decided to explore a dense forest surrounding the village when she stumbled upon an old, overgrown pathway. The path led her to a place where an old Ghana tree stood, with its branches twisted. Beneath the tree, half buried in the earth, lay a ring. The ring was unlike any she had ever seen before. The ring has gleaming obsidian adorned with intricate patterns. Abe's curiosity got the better of her, and she picked up the mysterious ring. As soon as she slipped it onto her finger, a strange chill ran down her spine, and a voice whispered in her ear, "Beware, for you now bear the ring of curse." Startled but undaunted, Abe decided to learn more about the ring's history. So she visited the village elder called Mama. Mama is a wise woman known for her knowledge of ancient tales and legends. Mama listened to Abe's story and examined the ring with a knowing gaze. She explained that the ring was once possessed by a powerful sorcerer who had used it to bring both fortune and misfortune to those who wore it. Legend had it that the sorcerer's soul was trapped within the ring, and whoever wore it would be both blessed and cursed. Even after Mama has told Abe about the ominous tale, Abe wasn't discouraged. Rather, she felt a strong sense of responsibility. She believed she could harness the ring's power for the greater good of her village. With Mama's guidance, she embarked on a quest to unravel the secrets of the ring and, if possible, free the sorcerer's trapped soul. Abe's journey took her through dense jungles, across vast savannas, and into the heart of mysterious caves. Along the way, she encountered various challenges, from cunning trickster spirits to treacherous riddles. Each test sharpened her courage and wit, preparing her for the final trial. At the heart of a desolate forest, Abe faced the ultimate test. She found herself standing before a towering heap of stone. Carved into the stone was a riddle that had confounded the bravest souls for a long, long time. With a deep breath, she read it aloud. To break the curse, wisdom you must find. In the echoes of the past, secrets unwind. Speak the sorcerer's name, reveal his strife, and you shall free him from eternal life. Abe pounded the riddle for hours, tracing her fingers over the enigmatic characters. Finally, it came to her like a whisper from the wind. The name of the sorcerer was revealed in the old symbols. She uttered the sorcerer's name, and a brilliant light enveloped her, blinding her momentarily. When the light receded, the ring had transformed. It was no longer a thing of darkness, but a beacon of light, radiating warmth and hope. With the curse lifted, Abe returned to her village, where she was celebrated as a hero. The ring, now a symbol of wisdom and courage, was placed in the village's sacred shrine. Abe had not only freed the sorcerer's soul, but had also proved that even the most mysterious and cursed objects could be harnessed for the greater good. And so, in the village of Otu, Abe's tale was told for generations, a testament to the power of curiosity, courage, and the enduring spirit of a young girl who had once dared to wear the mysterious ring of curse. Once upon a time, in the mystical land of Owo, there was an annual event that everyone eagerly awaited, the festival of the magical masquerade. It was a night when enchantment filled the air, and the townspeople gathered at the palace to celebrate with mysterious maxis. In Owo, magical creatures roamed freely, and the inhabitants were always fascinated by their mystical ways. But on this special night, they could become someone else entirely, hiding their true identity behind ornate maxis. The story begins with three best friends who were very close: Kola, Kehinde, and Ade. They lived on the outskirts of Owo and had always dreamt of attending the magical masquerade festival. Because of their simple lives and humble backgrounds, they were never invited. Determined to make their dreams come true, the three friends decided to create their own maxis. They gathered feathers, ribbons, and sparkling beads to create the most exquisite disguises. Kola's mask was adorned with flowers, Kehinde's with stars, and Ade's with intricate patterns. As the day of the masquerade festival approached, excitement grew among the friends. They could hardly wait to experience the enchantment of the night and dance with magical beings. But fate had other plans for them. On the eve of the masquerade festival, a terrible storm brewed over Owo Kingdom. Thunder roared and rain poured down heavily. The palace grounds were flooded, and it seemed like the event might be cancelled. The friends were heartbroken, fearing that their dreams would remain unfulfilled. But then, something magical happened. An old woman dressed in a cloak of shimmering moonlight appeared before them. Her name was Adimu Orisa, the guardian of Owo's magic. Seeing the friends' disappointment, Adimu Orisa smiled warmly and waved her staff, creating a beautiful rainbow bridge to the palace. The masquerade must go on, she proclaimed. Amazed and grateful, Kola, Kehinde, and Ade crossed the radiant bridge to the palace. The sight inside was breathtaking. Magical beings of all shapes and sizes twirled gracefully, their maxes glinting under the golden statue. As Kola, Kehinde, and Ade joined the celebration, they felt a sense of belonging and joy. They danced with fairies, exchanged riddles and goblins, and even had a friendly chat with a wise old dragon. In the midst of the festivities, the friends encountered 3 mysterious figures, each marked differently. The first had the moon on their marks, the second a sun, and the third had stars. Curious, Kola, Kehinde, and Ade asked them to join in a dance. As they swirled around the dance hall, the maxes of the mysterious figures glowed with radiant light. Suddenly, the maxes lifted, revealing the true identities of the 3 magical beings. They were the very essence of the moon, sun, and stars. They are the spirit guardians who watched over Owo. The friends were awe-struck by the revelation, and Adimu Orisa appeared once more. She explained that the magical masquerade was not just about wearing disguises, but about embracing the magic within each person's heart. Kola, Kehinde, and Ade understood that the true enchantment of the masquerade was the connection they made with others, the friendships they forged, and the belief in their own magic. As the night drew to a close, the 3 friends bid farewell to the magical beings, promising to cherish the memories forever. They walked back home with their hearts full of gratitude and wonder. From that day on, the 3 remained the best of friends, and their bond grew stronger, forever connected by the magical masquerade of Owo. And every year, as the enchanting events returned, they would wear their maxes of flowers, stars, and intricate patterns, reminding themselves of the magic that lived within their souls. It was a long time ago, in a small village called Doma, ruled a king called Nuhu. King Nuhu is known far and wide for his wicked and treacherous reign. His reign was marked by cruelty, oppression, and a lust for power that seemed insatiable. The people of Doma suffered greatly under his rule, and whispers of rebellion echoed through the streets and hidden corners of the kingdom. King Nuhu was born into a noble family, inheriting the throne at a young age after the sudden demise of his father. From the beginning, his heart was consumed by a thirst for dominance and control. He imposed heavy taxes on the common people, seizing their hard-earned wealth to fund his lavish banquets and extravagant palace. The treasury grew fat while the people grew hungry and poorer by the day. His tyranny extended beyond the kingdom's coffers. King Nuhu's enforcers, known as the Black Guard, terrorized the community. The Black Guards crushed anyone who dares to rebel against King Nuhu by putting them in prison. Public floggings and even executions of the villagers became common sight in the once happy land of Doma. The situation worsened when Nuhu allied himself with dark sorcerers, seeking to increase his power through forbidden magic. The kingdom was plunged into darkness as shadows crept over the once beautiful bright lands of Doma, and tales of strange and evil creatures prowling the forest spread like wildfire. The villagers grew desperate, their spirits crushed beneath the weight of Nuhu's malevolent reign. However, even in the darkest of times, hope can flicker like a lone candle in the night. A group of brave and determined individuals gathered secretly, bound by their shared determination to overthrow King Nuhu and restore peace to Doma. They called themselves the Masu Enchin Doma. Led by a charismatic and cunning strategist named Sambo, Masu and Chidoma began planning their revolt. Sambo had a deep connection to the old ways of Doma, drawing strength from the tales of the kingdom's former glory. He knew that to defeat Nuhu, they needed not only to gather an army, but to rekindle the villagers' hope and faith. Through cautiousness and perseverance, Masu and Chidoma spread their message, rallying the oppressed and downtrodden. As stories of their deeds spread, whispers of resistance turned into a resounding chorus of disagreement. Villagers, soldiers, and even some members of the Black Guard began to question their allegiance to King Nuhu. As the tide of rebellion grew, Nuhu's grip on the kingdom weakened. He responded with even greater brutality, unleashing his dark sorcery and devilish creations to quell the uprising. But the Masu and Chidoma fought back with courage and unity, their cause fueled by the promise of a brighter tomorrow. The final confrontation between King Nuhu's forces and the Masu and Chidoma took place on the fields outside Doma. As the sun set, casting a golden glow across the land, the two sides clashed in an epic battle that would determine the fate of Doma. With Sambo at their helm, the warriors of Masu and Chidoma fought valiantly, inspiring those around them to stand up against the wicked king. In the heart of the battle, Sambo faced off against King Nuhu himself. Their conflict, symbolic of the struggle between tyranny and freedom. With a combination of strategy, bravery, and the rekindled hope of the villagers, Masu and Chidoma emerged victorious. King Nuhu's reign of terror came crashing down, and his dark magic was undone by a force more powerful than any spell. The resilience of the united villagers, Doma, began to heal as Nuhu's dark legacy was erased. Masu and Chidoma transitioned into leaders, guiding the kingdom toward a new era of prosperity and unity. The people, once oppressed and divided, now worked together to rebuild their lives and their land. The story of Nuhu, the wicked king, became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and the importance of standing up against injustice. And as Doma flourished, once more its people celebrated their triumph over darkness, knowing that the light of hope could overcome even the most malevolent of rulers. Long, long ago, in the beautiful land of Gobir, there lived a young girl named Aisha. She was known throughout the village for her kind heart, sparkling eyes, and insatiable curiosity. Gobir was a place where magic was woven into the very fabric of life, and tales of hidden treasures and mystical artifacts were whispered around campfires. Aisha's family was simple, but they lived contentedly in their cozy cottage, surrounded by abundant green fields and colorful wildflowers. Aisha, however, often daydreamed about discovering something extraordinary that would change their lives. She yearned to bring a little more comfort to her family and her fellow villagers. One bright morning, while wandering deep into the mystical whispering woods, Aisha stumbled upon a place she had never seen before. At the center of this place stood an old oak tree, its branches heavy with vibrant leaves that seemed to glow with an imaginary light. Beneath the tree lay an ancient magic pot with fine patterns designed into its surface. Aisha's heart raced as she approached the pot. It emitted a faint hum as if resonating with the very magic that surrounded it. She reached out and touched the pot, and a soft whisper filled her mind. Seeker of dreams, holder of hope, one wish I grant, within me I cope. In amazement, Aisha's eyes widened. Could this be the legendary magic pot of wealth she had heard about in the stories? Without hesitation, she closed her eyes and made her wish. I wish for prosperity to bless my family and my village. May this wealth be used for the betterment of all." As soon as she finished her wish, a warm glow enveloped her, and the pot began to shimmer and emit a soft, radiant light. When the light faded, Aisha cautiously peered into the pot. To her astonishment, it was now filled with sparkling golden coins, precious gems, and exquisite jewels. Aisha's heart swelled with gratitude and excitement as she realized the power of the magic pot. She carefully gathered the pot and its contents and made her way back to the village. The news of her discovery spread like wildfire, and the entire village gathered to witness the extraordinary wealth that Aisha had brought forth. Aisha, through her nature, shared the wealth generously. She helped the villagers repair their homes, built a school for the children, and established a healing center for the sick. The village flourished, and a sense of unity and gratitude filled the air. As time passed, Aisha's fame as the guardian of the magic pot of wealth grew. Visitors from neighboring lands came to seek her advice, and tales of her benevolence and wisdom spread far and wide. But Aisha remained humble and grounded, continuing to use the pot magic to bring prosperity and happiness to those in need. And so, the tale of Aisha and the magic pot of wealth became a legend, a beacon of hope for generations to come. The beautiful land of Gobir prospered not just in material wealth, but also in the richness of compassion, and became a community that Aisha had ignited with her selfless heart and her extraordinary discovery. Once upon a time, in a small village situated deep into the forest called Lokun, lived a wicked witch doctor named Bombo. Bombo was feared by all the villagers, for he used his dark powers to harm others and manipulate their lives. Bombo had always been a loner and had never experienced love or kindness in his life. This lack of compassion twisted his heart and led him down the path of darkness. He was determined to become the most powerful witch doctor in the land, no matter the cost. One day, a young girl named Kaya fell gravely ill. Her parents tried every medicine and healer they could find, but nothing seemed to work. Desperate and scared, they decided to seek the help of Bombo, hoping his powerful magic could save their daughter. Bombo saw this as an opportunity to increase his influence over the village. He agreed to help Kaya, but in return, he demanded a hefty price. Kaya's parents, desperate to save their child, agreed to Bombo's terms. As Bombo began his dark incantations, the villagers gathered outside his hut, fearing the consequences of his actions. The night was filled with strange chants and ominous smoke, making the villagers shiver with dread. Hours passed, and finally, Bombo emerged from his hut, wearing a wicked grin on his face. He claimed that Kaya was cured, but she had changed. She had lost her ability to speak and had a vacant look in her eyes. The villagers were relieved that their daughter was alive, but they couldn't help but feel uneasy about Bombo's involvement. They began to realize that Bombo's magic came at a steep price and that he was far from a benevolent healer. Over time, Bombo's influence in the village grew stronger as he used his dark powers to manipulate situations and control people's lives. Fear gripped the villagers, and they felt trapped under Bombo's sinister rule. One day, a brave young man named Juma decided he could no longer stand by and watch Bombo terrorize his village. Juma embarked on a journey to find a way to defeat the evil witch doctor and break the curse that had befallen Kaya. Through many trials and tribulations, Juma discovered a wise old sage who taught him the true power of kindness and compassion. Armed with this newfound knowledge, Juma returned to the village and challenged Bombo. In an epic battle of good versus evil, Juma's kindness and compassion proved to be more powerful than Bombo's dark magic. As Bombo's powers waned, the villagers began to see the error of their ways and turned against him. Defeated and powerless, Bombo was banished from the village and the curse on Kaya was lifted. The villagers learned that true strength came through love and unity, not from fear and manipulation. And so, the village lived happily ever after, free from the grip of Bombo, the evil witch doctor, and they embraced the power of kindness and compassion as their true source of strength. Once upon a time, in the heart of Obosi village, where the sun's rays danced upon the beautiful green lands and the aroma of exotic spices filled the air, there lived a clever and mischievous spider named Anansi. He was known far and wide for his cunning ways and quick wit, and his reputation often preceded him. One day, a severe drought befell the village, casting a shadow of despair upon the people. The crops withered, the rivers ran dry, and the animals grew weak. The village chief called for a meeting to find a solution to the crisis. As the villagers gathered beneath the ancient mango tree, Anansi, who always wanted to seize an opportunity, emerged from the shadows, his 8 legs moving in a graceful dance. Dear villagers, Anansi began, I have heard of a hidden oasis, a mystical lake of life, deep within the dense jungle. Its waters are said to possess the power to end this drought. The villagers exchanged skeptical glances, unsure of whether to trust the spider's words. Yet, their desperation led them to consider Anansi's proposition. The village chief finally spoke up. If you can guide us to this oasis, Anansi, we shall reward you handsomely. With a gleam in his eyes, Anansi agreed. He spun a web of enchantment around the villagers, promising to lead them to the oasis. The next morning, the village set out on the journey, following Anansi's intricate web trail deep into the heart of the jungle. As they trekked through thick foliage and faced numerous obstacles, Anansi's cleverness shone brightly. He navigated the group around treacherous cliffs and cunning outsmarted a fierce lion that blocked their path. Each time the villagers grew more impressed by his resourcefulness. Days turned into weeks, and still Anansi led them forward, each day revealing more of his extraordinary intellect. His reputation as a trickster spider started to transform into one of leadership and wisdom. Even though the villagers' feet were sore and their spirits were weary, they pressed on, fueled by the hope that Anansi's guidance would indeed lead them to salvation. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, they stumbled upon a hidden clearing. Before their eyes lay a sparkling oasis, its crystal clear waters shimmering in the sunlight. The villagers rejoiced, rushing to drink from the revitalizing pool. As the water touched their lips, a magical transformation occurred. The drought effect vanished and it started to rain heavily as life flowed back into the villagers of Obosi. With their village restored, the villagers turned to Anansi with gratitude in their hearts. The once mischievous spider had proven himself a true hero, and he was honored by the village with a grand feast in his honor. Anansi became a legend, and his tales were passed down through generations, teaching the value of wit, resourcefulness, and unity in the face of adversity. And so, in the heart of Obosi village, the legend of Anansi the spider lived on, reminding all who heard it that sometimes the most unlikely heroes can emerge from the shadows to bring light to the darkest of time.